The Lord be with you.
and with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke.
Glory to you, O Lord.
Jesus said to his disciples, I tell you, make friends for yourselves with dishonest wealth, so that when it fails, you will be welcomed into eternal dwellings. The person who is trustworthy in very small matters is also trustworthy in great ones. And the person who is dishonest in very small matters is also dishonest in great ones. If therefore you are not trustworthy with dishonest wealth, who will trust you with true wealth? If you are not trustworthy with what belongs to another, who will give you what is yours? No servant can serve two masters. He will either hate one and love the other, or be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and Mammon. The Pharisees who loved money heard all these things and sneered at him. And he said to them, You justly yourselves in the sight of men, but God knows your hearts. For what is human esteem is an abomination in the sight of God. My dear friends, the Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. Please be seated.
Dishonest wealth. What does Jesus mean when he said about this thing? Especially when he said in today's Gospel, make friends for yourselves with dishonest wealth. Mga kayamanan, mga yaman na galing sa kasinungalingan. What does this expression really mean? What's the point of Jesus in today's Gospel? When we talk about this honest wealth, well, generally, this talks about the things of this world. Perhaps, according to the translation from the Greek word, this actually refers to the mammon of iniquity. In other words, refers to the wealth, to the money, material riches that will eventually lead men into iniquity. Kaya nga, mammon of iniquity, mga bagay na magpapadali sa ating lahat. But generally, this refers to the things of this world. Money, riches, wealth, temporal goods. But you might be wondering, why did Jesus say, we have to make friends with this honest wealth? Well, first of all, my dear friends, let us be mindful of the context. The context is actually about the parable of the dishonest steward. That's actually the gospel yesterday. Karugtong po ito ng Ebanghelyo kahapon, wherein Jesus talked about the parable of the dishonest steward. Well, take note, Jesus did not praise the dishonest man, did not praise that wicked man. Hindi niya pinupuri yung taong mas sinungaling na iyon. But what was being emphasized in the parable is about the cleverness of that wicked man. But actually, hindi po nalalayo sa atin. Lumalabas yung cleverness natin kapag tayo nagkakamali. Lumalabas yung ating katalinuhan kapag tayo nadadali. Napapansin niyo ba yun? Halimbawa, kapag tayo nahuli, lumalabas yung ating cleverness. Kapag tayo nagkamali, lumalabas ang ating cleverness, susunod-sunod yung ating alibay. It is only through these failures that eventually we come up with our own cleverness. And that is being emphasized in the gospel. That's the point of Jesus. The cleverness of men in the midst of these failures. The cleverness of men in the midst of these unfortunate events in life. And the point of Jesus is that, hopefully, we also end up to be clever for holiness. Jesus is emphasizing to tell his apostles that hopefully also we will use our cleverness for holiness. Let us not only make use of our cleverness when we fail, just like what happened in the story, in the parable of the dishonest steward. He was able to successfully make way for himself after he was fired because of his sinfulness. Kaya ang sinasabi ni Kristo, sana din lumalabas yung ating katalinuhan, gagamitin natin yung ating katalinuhan for holiness. You know, I am reminded of the story of Zacchaeus. Actually, Zacchaeus is one of my favorite biblical personalities in the gospel. Si Zacchaeus ay isa pong tax collector. Sabihin natin, one of these wicked servants, one of these dishonest stewards in the Bible. But you know, you will see from the story of Zacchaeus that even in the midst of our sinfulness, God will not give up on us. God will not give up on us, even in the midst of those not so good events in our life. Na kahit alam niya sa Zacchaeus sa isang makasalanan, but that does not make Jesus to give up on him. In other words, the invitation is that sana magkaroon tayo ng constant transformation for holiness through our earthly life. Na kahit anumang mga unfortunate events o sabihin nating failure sa ating buhay, don't give up, but always long for transformation to become holy. And that's exactly what happened to Zacchaeus. At the end, pinamigay niya ang kanyang mga dishonest wealth. He made use of them to aim for that transformation to become holy. You know, when we talk about temporal goods, you know, these are also necessary. We also need money. It's always normal for us to long for wealth. We aim for riches. You know, even the church value temporal goods because the church believes that this is one way to preach the good news. This is one way to become more holy. But I just hope, my dear friends, let us not make use of these things to be the end of our journey. Simply make use of them to be the means. Meron kasi ibang tao o iba sa atin that they see them as the end of life. Yung tipong akala nila, madadala nila ang mga bagay na ito sa langit. Akala nila madadala nila ito sa kamatayan. Hindi po. These material goods, material riches, will always end up to be the means. And hopefully, we make use of our own cleverness using these earthly things for holiness. To share these things to other people. To value the presence of other people, the needs of other people, and be able to become instruments for generosity. And that's the point of Jesus when he said, make friends for yourselves with this honest wealth. It's not about aiming for them, but why not? Always aim for transformation even in the midst of these not so good instances in our life.